Hi folks, welcome to part 3 of our series on improving your computer performance. If you haven't yet had a look at part 1 and part 2, you'll find these in YouTube, and you will probably need to watch these as a prerequisite to watching this video. We are going to be looking at the third area of our CCleaner program that's very important. This area is taking into consideration the speed of the startup process in Windows. There are a number of startup items that are set up to run when Windows is loading. When we buy a new piece of software and install it on our computer, quite often that software will have automatically set up a startup item that does some check of some sort every time Windows loads up. However, it isn't always necessary for these checks to be run when loading up Windows, and often it takes up so much time that we get very frustrated with the slowness of Windows loading. CCleaner can help us disable several startup items. And hopefully our result when we do this is a faster experience when loading Windows. The toughest thing to decipher is how we know what is needed during startup. The last thing we want to do is delete a startup item that will cause a system failure or cause a catastrophe of some sort that obviously we don't want to happen. So it's not always straightforward when you're deciding whether a startup item should be disabled or not. However, what we advise is a quick search on Google for the startup program itself and see if it's a necessary item to have. And really, over and above that, if you are unsure, then keep it on the startup list just to be sure, or even better, ask an expert. Okay, so let's begin with our tutorial. First things first, we open the CCleaner icon on our desktop and just double click on that. It may ask you if you are okay to continue using this program. That's just the user account control for either Windows 7 or Vista. Just click yes to that. Now, when CCleaner is opened, we need to go to the Tools icon on the left hand side, click on that, and then we need to click on the Startup button. In this area, all your startup items are listed. At the moment, what it shows is in black, it shows any items that are currently active on the startup menu, and in the grey items, it shows those startup items that are disabled at the minute. So we're going to look at a couple of examples here. The first one that's quite common with a Dell laptop in particular is the quick set startup item. So if you're coming to this from fresh, you want to make sure that it is okay to disable this item. So let's go in to Google that. So we can just double check here. The word quickset.exe is very important. So let's go in and type in quickset.exe, and startup. You can see other people have searched that before too. Okay, so first couple of items showing up there, let's pop into those and see what it says. Okay, so this is saying this is a valid program, but it is not required on startup. That's good news, we could probably remove it. Let's just verify that by going to a couple more websites. So let's look at the next one. It's telling us that the Kwikset exe is a taskbar application allowing you to quickly change power management settings. Below that it says you can safely remove Kwikset.exe. Okay, so that's what we need to know. We can also look at one or two more just to be sure. Okay, so this one's saying again, Kwikset is not necessary for startup. We only really need to run it infrequently, so let's start it manually if we absolutely need it. So let's go back and we can select our Kwikset item, and we're going to just click on disable. And if we move away from that, you'll see now that Kwikset is in grey. Let's pick one more that we will try in this example. So we're going to look at this particular one. The .exe there is BJMYPRT. So let's go home. JMYPRT.exe. Same idea. Start up. And let's see what type of things come up here. Okay, this is a valid program, but it is up to you whether or not you want to run it on startup. Basically, again, it's not necessary in startup, and you can run it if you require it later on. Let's have a look at a couple more just to be sure. Yeah, again, it's entirely at your discretion. Not essential. Let's just have a look at one or two more. Okay, this one in particular isn't really very useful, so let's back that up and we're here. Depends whether you deem it necessary. So again, if you think it's something you would like to run on startup, keep it, but it certainly isn't necessary to the running of your computer. So we're just going to disable that in this case. And really you have to do that for each item. Another very popular one is iTunes Helper. Not required. There's an awful lot of items there that just aren't required. There's an Adobe Acrobat one, again not essential, and we could go through many more. That's really how you go about disabling an item for startup. There is an option to delete an item for startup, but we don't really recommend that. By disabling it, if things go terribly wrong, you can easily go back and enable again. So you're better just using the disable option. If you delete it, you can't get it back again at all. So that concludes our final session on improving the performance of your computer. If you have any questions or would like more support for your computer, why not contact Snazzy PC Repairs. We provide free online quotes to those living in the UK, and we're here to help with all of your computer problems. Thank you very much for listening to this free tutorial advice, and we will continue to provide additional tutorials in the future.